Here's a quote from Dan Rubitsky of Futurism. Headline: New quantum physics experiment suggests that reality isn't objective. This is from the 12th of March, 2019. A new quantum physics experiment just lent evidence to a mind-boggling idea that was previously limited to the realm of theory, according to the MIT Technology Review, that under the right conditions, two people can observe the same event, see two different things happen, and both be correct. According to research shared to the preprint server archive on Tuesday, physicists from Heriot-Watt University demonstrated for the first time how two people can experience different realities by recreating a classic quantum physics thought experiment. The experiment involves two people observing a single photon, the smallest quantifiable unit of light that can act as either a particle or a wave under different conditions. The photon can exist in one of two alignments, but until the moment someone measures it to determine which, the photon is said to exist in a superposition. Both conditions are true at the same time. In the thought experiment, a scientist quietly analyzes the photon and determines its alignment. Another scientist, unaware of the first measurement, can confirm that the photon, and thus the first scientist's measurement, still exists in a quantum superposition of all possible outcomes. As a result, each scientist experienced a different reality. Both are technically true, even though they disagree with each other. Bringing this idea from thought experiment to reality involved an experimental setup with lasers, beam splitters, and a series of 6 photons that were measured by various pieces of equipment that stood in for the two scientists. Other researchers previously devised the experimental setup, according to MIT Tech, but this is the first time that anyone managed to pull the experiment off. Though the research has yet to be vetted and published by an academic journal, its findings lend real evidence to the sort of brain-melting ideas that wow physics undergrads. When it comes to the realm of quantum physics, there may be no such thing as a shared objective reality. End of article. Let that one sink in for a moment. What if there's no such thing as a shared objective reality? We all bring our piece of the puzzle to the table. When you add up every point of view, you get a big, beautiful one. That's what it means when you realize we spring from probabilistic quantum uncertainty. The number of viewpoints at this instant is the number of partial divisions to our third dimension there are right now. All of those viewpoints, as Schrödinger liked to say, are really just one thing. In his book, My View of the World, he wrote, "This life of yours, which you are living, is not merely a piece of this entire existence, but in a certain sense, the whole. Consciousness is singular. All happenings are played out in one universal consciousness, and there is no multiplicity of selves." What if consciousness really is fundamental to our reality? If there is no shared objective reality, then with no consciousness, there is no universe being observed. Is that thought just a human construct, like a paradox, or a puzzle with no solution? Some people say all dimensions are just human constructs, and the only thing that's real is now. This is actually what's useful about the "it's turtles all the way down" way of thinking, because it gives us another way of thinking about Tegmark's ultimate ensemble. But if everything in the future and the past already exists, has already happened, and any distinction between the two is only a stubbornly persistent illusion, does that mean free will doesn't exist, and we are all just like robots acting out a program? That is a conclusion many great minds of the 20th century have reached. But what about quantum uncertainty? If we come from probabilities, then nothing is inevitable. And there are many ways you could have gotten to this very moment. What story you tell yourself you are in moves you to that version of the universe. That's what Eye of the Tiger and keeping your eye on the prize is all about. But what does it mean if all those turtles upon turtles add up to a big number 1? A biggest of all the things that ever could be way of thinking about the ultimate ensemble as a single timeless, everything. There are many other names we humans have given to this pattern that caused our universe to appear from out of that everything, and what name we use doesn't change the nature of what we're talking about. An underlying symmetry state. So let's back out to the biggest picture of all, far outside of our tiny space-time experience, to the place where Einstein said the distinction between past, present, and future is meaningless. Teilhard called it the omega point. Gjorbrand called it the omniverse. Tegmark calls it the ultimate ensemble and the level 4 multiverse. With my project, I have called it the 10th dimension in its unobserved state. What name we give to the timeless everything from which our universe is derived doesn't really matter. Use whichever label you prefer. Coco the gorilla told us this: when we die, we go into a comfortable hole. Physics gives us another way of thinking about the eternal background from which our universe and our lives are constructed. Our universe arises from a breaking of symmetry. Our universe pops into existence as a single pattern in space-time, and at some point in the distant future, maximum entropy is achieved, which returns us to that perfectly balanced symmetry state from before our universe began. I agree with Coco, except I would add a W. When we die, we go into a comfortable hole. That's true for each of us, and it's true for the universe. There's peace at the end, and all the current troubles matter not a bit. That wholeness will stay there forever, and other universes with completely different physical laws can arise anywhere and any time within what theorists like Brian Greene refer to as the landscape multiverse. This means there is something about now that lasts forever, because it is just a position within the system, within the ultimate ensemble. This system includes whatever it is that started this experience you are having right now as a living being in the universe. How did the universe you are observing right now begin? Most people know it as the Big Bang, of course.